Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Ijoma Fab. So today I'll be taking you on how to cut and draft various necklines. So with me here I have various patterns which I'll be using to illustrate the neckline. So let's get started. So the first neckline we're going to be drafting is the sweetheart neckline, and the width I'll be working with is 4 inches, and the depth I'm going to be working with is 7 inches. So after marking 7 inches, I'm going to place my 4 inches. I'm going to bring it down here so that I can easily square it and so that it's equal. Now I'm going to take my ruler and draw a straight line so that I can square it up. And the 7 inches, I'm going to draw a straight line. Now on this line, I'll be going upwards by 2 inches. And on the other side, I'll go up by 2 inches. Then I'm going to square it out. And the next thing I'm going to do now is to use my curve, placing it this way. And I will draw a line from this part of the curve to the other part, and our sweetheart neckline is ready. So one thing you should note is that the deeper you go, the more revealing it is. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting out, this is how it looks like. So this is the sweetheart neckline. The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and label this sweetheart neckline. So the next neckline is going to be the wrapped up neckline. So I already have a width of 3.5 inches. Now I'm going to be coming inwards by ½ inch because I want the width to be 4 inches in total. So after marking 4 inches here, I'm going to go ahead now and open this up. So once I open this up, the next thing is to determine how deep I want the neckline to be. So the more you go down, the more revealing it also is. So now I'm going to mark 7 inches. So at the midpoint, I'll be marking 7 inches for the depth of my wrap top. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now, at the side here, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. So after marking the 2 inches, the next thing is to connect this point to the midpoint and also to the side. So you can go ahead and use your ruler and give it a straight line. And the other way you can do it is to use your curve rule and connect from the beginning here and to the midpoint and also to the side. So I'll be going ahead with this method. So I'm going to also connect from the midpoint to the side. So after this, I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out. So after cutting out, this is what I have. So if you want to cut this on your fabric, you have to cut this right side facing each other or the wrong side of your fabric facing each other. So I have this pattern paper here, which I already cut out as a sample. So I placed it wrong side of each other facing each other, and when I turn it, this is how it looks like. So you can see. So when I also place it right side facing each other and the wrong side facing me and the wrong side facing the table, so by the time I open it up and place them together, this is how it's going to be. So the next neckline is the monostrap neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and mark a width of 4 inches. So I'm going to open this up this way, and at this point here, I'm going to determine how deep I want it to be. So the depth I'll be working with is 4.5 inches. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to connect the 2 points together. So you can either make it straight or you can use your curve. So making it straight, this is how it's going to be, like this. Okay, so if you want to make use of a curve, I'm going to show you how it's going to come out. So using your curve rule, this is how it's going to be. You're going to have a slight curve, a little bit different from when you use your straight ruler to cut it. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead now and cut out the straight part. So after cutting out, this is how it looks like. So if you want to cut the deep part, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you how it looks like cutting out the curve part. So after cutting out, this is what I have, and our monostrap neckline is ready. So next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to write monostrap or one shoulder neckline. The next neckline is a canoe neckline or a boat neckline. A canoe neckline has a wide width and a low depth. So the width is wider and the depth has to be low. So I'm going to go ahead now and mark the neckline. I'll be making use of 5 inches for the width, and for the depth, I'll be making use of 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and use my curve now and connect. So I'm going to place my curve this way and not deep this way. So you can see the way I'm placing my curve. Don't place your curve so deep, okay, so as to get that canoe shape. So I'm going to connect, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut this out. So after cutting, I'll open it up and you can see how it looks like. So this is a boat shape or a canoe shape. So I'm going to go ahead now and label this boat neckline. So the next neckline we're going to go ahead and cut is the Queen Anne neckline. So the Queen Anne neckline is similar to the Sweetheart neckline. So when you're cutting out your Queen Anne neckline, do not use a wide width. So you can use from 3 inches to 3/4 of an inch. So I'll be making use of 3/4 of an inch for the width. And for the depth, I'm going to go ahead and use 7.5 inches for the depth. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to bring the 3/4 of an inch this way so as to square it up and connect. Then I'm going to connect from the 7 inches downwards. So I'll be coming upwards by 3 inches at this point here, and on the other end I'm going to come upwards also by 3 inches. So I'm going to use my ruler to square it out. So automatically now this line will serve as the breaking point for the neckline. So now you're going to determine how wide you want this breaking point to be. So you can decide to make it 5 inches or 5.5 inches. Another thing you can do is at the neckline on the shoulder here, you can measure what you have, divide it by 2, whatever you get, you add it to this point here by extending it. So I've extended it by 2 inches. Now I'm going to connect like this. So from there, from where I have my 3.25 inches down this way, and the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to use my curve from that point like this. So this is the Queen Anne neckline. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out. So after cutting out, this is what I have. So I'm going to open it up. So this is our neckline. So the next neckline we're going to go ahead and cut is the U-shaped neckline. So for the U-shaped neckline, I'm going to be using a width of 4 inches and a depth of 6 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and also measure the 4 inches I have there at that 6 inches so that I have a uniform line, and I'll go ahead now and connect. Then I'll square it up from the top to meet with the 4 inches. Next, I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out, and we're done with our neckline. So after cutting, this is what we have. Opening it up, this is how the U neckline looks like. So we're practically done with the U neckline. This is a simple neckline. I'll go ahead and label this U neckline. So the next neckline is an asymmetric neckline, and an asymmetric neckline is an uneven neckline. So at the midpoint here, I'm going to mark 3.5 inches for the width, and on the other side, I'll be marking 3.5 inches. So for the depth, at the midpoint, I'm going to come down by 6 inches. Now I'm going to square this out with my ruler. So on both sides, I'll be marking 3.5 inches. Next, I'm going to use my ruler now to square it properly. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to create a slant with my ruler. So you can decide to create it this way straight, or you can decide to use your French curve and give it a curve. So it depends on what you want to achieve. So this is the straight one, and this is the curved part. So I'll go ahead and cut out the straight part. So after cutting out the straight part, this is what I have. Now you can as well go ahead and cut out the curve. Now this is what I have. I have a pattern which I already cut out the curved part. Now the next thing you can go ahead and do now is to be creative. So you can go ahead and do or adjust as you want. So just be creative. So I'm going to go ahead and use my curve to enhance this. Now I'll go ahead and use my marker to make it visible. So you're just going to be as creative as you can, and I'll go ahead and cut this out. So this is what I have after cutting. So you can see how it looks like. You can see the slant or the shape I made here. So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.